Speech number 4, how to say. Introduction. Brandon was one of those people who's never satisfied with the way things currently are. He feels there is always a way to make something better, and he's devoted his brief life to innovation. Tonight, he hopes to share a few principles with you that, when applied, will change the way you work. Fellow Toastmasters and our guests, I relinquish the podium to Mr. Brandon Toast.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and sort of guest. Tonight, I'm going to present to you principles that will change the way you work. And I want to start out with the why, the what, and the where. Why am I presenting these principles? Well, in some way, we are always working. No matter what we're doing, whether you're retired, whether you stay at home, that is work. If you're staying at home, you're working. That's why they call it second shift sometimes. And what will happen if you apply these? Well, the principles I'm going to tell you, you'll find you'll have a lot of free time. You'll find that you'll rate highly in your evaluations, and that you'll be able to take the tasks at hand and get them done. Where do these come from? Well, specifically my head, my brain. I listen a lot to the people that are around me. I think that's a quality most people should hold on to. And I read a lot, but I'm no expert. So these are just my opinions, so don't go cite me and say Brandon, PhD. That's not me, all right? So what are the 3 principles? It's PET, prioritizing, elimination, and taking action. All right, PET, prioritizing, elimination, and taking action. These 3 things when combined together will make you more efficient. So prioritizing, why, when, and how? Why do you need to prioritize? The biggest mistake people make is not prioritizing. They do not know the bigger picture. They don't understand what their main purpose is when they go to work. For example, I'm in sales. For a while, I would spend time at the office, come in, open up my email, go get some coffee, chit-chat a little bit, and I wouldn't get started on my cold calls right away. I wasn't prioritizing. So I discovered a while back that if I prioritized, if I figured out what the biggest thing that I had to do was, that I can make a big effective change at the organization that I do. And when should you prioritize? On your morning on the way to work? Are you listening to music? Maybe you're in the shower. Some people say the night before. Just make sure you do it before you get there so you're ready and you have a game plan. And how do you do that? How do you take your priorities and make them work? Well, it's been shown that when you work in batches, you have a tendency to increase your efficiency. So if I want to make, let's say, 30 cold calls, if I'm not stopped in the middle of doing this, I'm going to be able to, ramp up as I go. Now, if I stop to check my email, maybe I'm thirsty, maybe I go hop over and talk to Jeff on the other side of the cue ball, I'm going to stop and I'm going to have to refigure out where I was again. So batch work, do batch work. So prioritization, that's kind of why you need to do that. Elimination, this goes along with prioritization. Everything we see, everything we hear, everything we ignore requires some thought. We have to think about it, right? Let's say you've got something at home that you got to do, or you're listening to some news about some bad stuff that's happening in the world. It gets to you. It really gets to you. So if you're going to become efficient, you have to learn some things that you can eliminate. And I've found 2 really big things that have helped me in my life, things that I can eliminate that you can eliminate, especially in the beginning of the day, and that is news and email. Now that might sound crazy, but one of the biggest things we all do when we go into work, we pop up our Outlook, we have a little email notification light. As soon as that light goes on, we're, oh my gosh, what am I missing? You're scrolling through, you're reading it, and you're prioritizing and sticking it in your folders. Email is one of the biggest drags to being efficient. So I found that if I check my email at 12 o'clock and 4 o'clock every day, that my productivity soars to the roof because I'm not getting dragged off in the very beginning. Now this goes along with the prioritization that I talked about previously, right? Because when you go in, if you don't have this distractor, and you've eliminated it, you're able to then just go and hit the ground running and get through with it. So like I said, eliminate email. Also too, with news, this was a really hard one for me to get rid of, news, to be totally honest. I love the news. I love NPR. I gave a presentation on TechBox, all right? I love this stuff. As soon as I eliminated that, as soon as I eliminated watching it, it was amazing, all the free time that came up to work. And I said, oh, I'm going to take a break, I'm going to see what's going on in the world today. Where you're on your way to work and you listen to NPR, like I said, there's something going on in Iraq, someone died again, That hits you, and that gets in your mind. So if you go into work without that, with your mind solely on the work that you have to do, by eliminating that at the very beginning of the day, you can continue to move through. And also, too, along with this, if you do want to give an update, you can check in every once in a while and ask your friends. It creates great dialogue among What's the third principle? Taking action. Taking action. This seems to be one of the hardest things for anybody to do. And why and how, I call this how squared. How do you do this stuff, right? Well, why? Usually what you fear most is what you most need to do, right? That's something I read a while back in one of my books. It was a great quote because one of the hardest parts in life and success is taking action. We're fearful of it. Sometimes we're fearful of moving forward and getting through things, right? So if you can learn to take action and take the ideas and move through them, it's those people who do those actions that really accomplish things. Now, how do you do this? How do you accomplish your actions? How do you go through it? Well, sometimes really grand, big things, they seem too big for even us to take on. So I found that if you figure out your first step, first thing that you need to do to get it running, you know, every journey begins with one step. If you figure out that first step and do it, you then begin to start working through the task way faster than you ever thought you would. Maybe you're going in blind. Let's say that doesn't work. Sometimes that doesn't work. Sometimes we're scared. This is the house square. I'm scared, I'm procrastinating, I don't want to do it. Well, with our emotions, we are more driven by our emotions and by what we do than what we really think. You wake up late, you feel bad. You stay up late, you feel bad. You don't go to the gym, you feel horrible. I'm not taking care of my body, right? And I read somewhere once that you can make your emotions equal your emotions. So if I'm afraid to cold call, the first thing I do is I pick up a phone and I start dialing the number and my heart's pounding, you know, it's pounding. But because I started, I'm already getting there. My emotions are equaling my emotions. I'm like, oh, I'm cold calling. I did this. I got it done. Same thing with going to the gym. I get home, I put on my workout clothes when I get home. I don't want to work out. I get to the gym, I don't want to work out. I'm standing in front of the treadmill stretching saying, I'm not going to work out. Well, then I do, because my emotions then affected my emotions. So remember those three things. Prioritizing, that's PET. Prioritizing, elimination, and taking action. All of them combined together will essentially help you become a much more productive person in your work, personally or professionally. Now, are you ready to be awesome? Are you ready to be the most productive person ever? Take over the world, perhaps? Well, knowing won't help you. That's the most interesting thing about these three things. You have to try it out. Just try it out one day. Don't check your email one day. Check your phone, check your report, eliminate the news. And you will see a dramatic increase in your productivity. And it will carry with you. And I just recommend you try it out. Have some fun with it. And I appreciate your time for me to spurt this out to you. Thank you very much.